Today we start with another interesting budget case which kind of has a great feature, well, the most important one, a great airflow. Now here we have the BitFenix Nova Mesh SETG, which has 4 addressable RGB fans, and comparing to some other budget cases, this one actually has an interesting concept because it's in the budget category. You have 4 120mm addressable RGB fans. You have loads of other stuff as well. We're going to get to that part as well. So first of all, it's kind of shorter than your usual case and still has loads of potential. Now for the tempered glass side panel, it's around 3mm thick and you have 4 thumb screws. I mean, the tempered glass looks quite nice. You have black rims on the side covering the edges of the inner part of the case. Both sides, as you can see, you have foil, so peeling time, that's definitely going to happen. Instruction manual with quick installation guide. Everything is here that you need to know, so do read this on how to install everything and what kind of features does it have. Now let's start from the beginning. They stated you can place 240mm radiator on top or 2 120mm fans. As I can see, no possibility for 140. At the back you could place 120 radiator or 120 fan, and on the front side you can place 3 120mm fans or 360 radiator. So basically you don't have any space for custom liquid cooling with pipes and everything. You can go with AIOs. That's my advice. Now here is the catch. If you go with the front 360 radiator, the graphic card distance, well, the length of the graphic card is quite shorter for 2.5 centimeters, since we have the standard dimensions. The standard thickness of the radiators is 2.5 centimeters. So basically the graphic card length now without the radiator on front is 315mm. So if you add the radiator on front, you can go up to 290mm of GPU length. The clearance for the CPU tower cooler is 160mm. And cool thing, they actually left the opening here for your power supply. Now also there's loads of stuff going on the power supply shroud, because you have the possibility to place 2 120mm fans, which can create some extra intake for your graphic card. And I think you can place some SSDs, because I see loads of holes that aren't in correlation with the holes of your fans. So that's a different story. Of course, you have a cutout here to place the radiator. You have a possibility to place 2 SSDs here on the side. So I think it can fit with the graphic card. It doesn't go in any way, doesn't collide with the graphic card. So 2 SSDs here on the side, which is quite cool actually. And you have a hole in the middle, so you can reroute the cables quite nicely. So imagine going with an ATX motherboard. You place 2, maybe 3 M.2 SSDs, 2 2.5-inch SSDs, and you can actually go with incredible storage. Now let's check out the back. Of course, before we go, you have a dust filter at the bottom part where the power supply is. You have a dust filter, basically front panel, which has some sort of fine mesh double dust filter to protect the inner parts of extra dust coming from the front fans. And you have a magnetic dust filter at the top, which is easily cleanable and removable. Now the back side, standard steel side panel, which isn't that thick. I would say about 1mm, but that's okay. We're talking about a budget case. Now, as I stated, you do have to remove the side panel at the back to reroute the cables, and of course to remove the here we go, to get the accessory box. Well, basically it's a bag with all the necessary screws, extra standoffs for your ATX motherboard, and additional speaker. You have these screws for your power supply, you have the screws for your SSDs and for the motherboard. Now at the back, this is really strange because they could have added 2 extra brackets right here for 2.5-inch SSDs, but nevertheless you can place them on front, and if they're RGB or if they look cool, they can really look nice on front. Right here we have something really interesting. We have a controller here that you can connect up to six fans, actually six fans. Four of them are already connected, and each of them have a possibility for a daisy chain with 3-pin DC connection. Unfortunately, they're not PWM controlled, so there's that. But in addition to that, on the same controller, you have 6 addressable RGB headers. Now, this makes things quite interesting because 4 of the fans are already connected. You can add 2 more, like, I don't know, LED strip, or if you have an AIO that has also daisy chain possibility for your adjustable RGB, you can connect it here. Connect the SATA power, and the reset LED button is basically used here for adjusting the lights. So on top you have a reset or LED button, depends what you choose. If you skip the controller at the back, shame. Basically it's really nice addition, and the cool thing about it, it's 3-pin 5 volts addressable RGB header. So we're going forward, we're definitely going forward and really like it. Also on top you have 2 USB 3.0, and you have the power on button with 2 3.5mm jacks for your headset, and for your microphone. Also 2 indication lights, and that's it when we're talking about the top. At the bottom of the power supply shroud, you have a possibility to mount a 3.5-inch hard drive or 2.5-inch hard drive or SSD, and even you can place on top the another 3.5-inch hard drive. Now the cool thing, the hard drive bracket is modular, so it's movable. Let's put it that way, it's movable, so you can adjust the distance from the power supply. It can support up to 200 millimeters of length of the power supply, but they suggest 190. When we're talking about 190, they mean actually when you place the hard drives or anything similar to that. My advice, if you're already into SSDs and you have a bunch of them already placed on your motherboard, on the side bracket here near the motherboard, you can basically just remove the hard drive cage and get full length here at the bottom. Of course, you do have to move the hard drive cage if you want to put the radiator on the front. So yeah. Now, these are all the specifications that you need to know about the BitFenix Nova Mesh TG-SE. Now it's time to place a build inside and check out those temperatures. Basically what we did today is placing a high-end PC, high-end components inside the budget case, budget-oriented case I would say. But honestly it's really straightforward building. There's no complications inside. I would only prefer, even though I stated at the beginning of the video, those daisy chain possibility for 3-pin headers on your fans, I would prefer if they weren't there. And this is the first time I'm saying less connection, just because you're getting a mess of cables at the back, and you don't need them, because if you add 2 more fans at the top or 2 more fans at the bottom, you have extra connections at the back, so there's no need for those. All in all, everything else is really straightforward. Fans, the front ones and the back one, the rear one, are already connected to the controller, so you don't have to worry about connecting them. And there are some cases that come with the controller but fans aren't connected. These ones are. You just need to plug in your SATA power from your power supply, and that's it. So no molecs, no extra connections, no extra cable management stuff for the cables. It's already sorted out. That's cool. So what we did today is placed 240 AIO, and on 5900X we have the XT Radeon card, and basically this is what I came up with. So first of all, let's talk about the Radiator 240. Since I stated at the beginning that it can fit, but only if only to a certain height of the RAMs. I was expecting higher temperatures just because there's no front space for the air to accumulate and to try to travel through the case, give more airflow. Then 240 is a bit too weaker for the 5900X. Okay, we had yesterday a different scenario when it kept it on 68. Today we had 82 Celsius degrees on the 5900X, and on the GPU we had 78. The tests were run for 10 minutes, so I would say full load on both of those, you'll have from 76 to 82 Celsius degrees. If you're gaming on these components and it doesn't go constant on full load, you'll have much lower temperatures for about, let's say, 5 to 7 Celsius degrees, and it'll be quite alright. The only thing that also here needs to be taken into consideration, the tube length. Now the tubes here are 40 centimeters long, and as you can see, they're sticking right here above the two 8-pin connectors for your GPU. They're a bit touching the GPU, but not that drastically. And if you don't place your tempered glass, of course you're going to have lower temperatures on both components, and you'll have the space to somehow manage the pipes, the tubes a bit away from the GPU. All in all, I'm pretty satisfied with the case. First of all, because it has loads of airflow. Otherwise you won't be having these temperatures at all. You will have most likely restart and shutting down the PC with temperatures on the CPU going way above. If it was some sort of a closed panel at the front, no extra outtake here at the top, especially if you're not using an AIO on 5900X, except for Noctua, you'll most likely have temperatures going extremely high. All in all, as I said, it's a pretty decent case, and definitely more into a mid-range build like 5600X, 6700 XT, and similar cards and processors like that. So all in all, a decent price for 4-fan addressable RGB case that has opening here for your power supply, a bit of a looks, a different approach, let's say. Nice tempered glass, without a doubt. It's slightly tinted, but nothing drastical. Space, as you can see, I managed to place 240 at the top. You still have enough. So this is a reference model from AMD Radeon 6800 XT. You still have enough clearance here to place Radiator on front. Maybe the temperatures would be a lot different if we place a 360 or 240 at front, and still give enough air. So today's case was BitFenix Nova Mesh SETG addressable RGB with 4 fans. Interesting, very budget oriented, definitely, and I would definitely recommend this case if you're going with mid-range build. It will definitely cool nicely, and you'll have nice airflow going from the front at the top. That's all for today, guys. Check out the link below for the BitFenix Nova Mesh SETG. Of course, don't forget to subscribe, click the thumbs up button if you like the video, and click the notification bell for future content, of course. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.